It's time for the Loco Sports Lowdown. Here are your hosts, Justin Jarrett, Wes Kerr, and Max Araj.
Hey, the faces match the introduction for once. We're all in the same place at the same time remotely here for a Sunday night special edition of the Loco Sports Lowdown. We're getting it in where it fits in right now in this busy spring season, and we're due to do a show sort of in a sense because stuff has happened since we had a show Friday that is relevant to tomorrow. I mean, more or less. We needed to get one in. We need to look at the brackets. It's going to be a bracket madness show. We got all the high school league brackets out now. We'll pull those up, take a tour, see all the Loco on Loco matchups, which is weird to see. Very strange to see, but it's a new world order. That's the way it is, at least for this cycle, and we'll see if they switch this up. I think we'll talk about it in some detail, probably some depth, because there's arguments to be made on both sides. But I suspect that there's going to be a little bit of a backlash against how often this has happened in this first cycle of doing it this way. And I think there's going to be some rules made about teams playing each other in the first round of the playoffs, because there's just it's an unsatisfying thing. The beauty of the playoffs is you don't know who you're going to play and they don't know you, and anything can happen. And when it's somebody you've already played 2 or 3 times this season, it just
I feel like it's
some of that mystique. But
a lot.
We'll see. We'll talk about it
because of how the numbers are positioned in terms of seeding, and you alternate between 3 regions, so there's a decent chance that you're going to get at least 1 or 2 or maybe more matches between teams in the same region. So it's it's certainly understandable why they decided to open it, but there are some flaws in terms of getting those matchups earlier than they should be there in the bracket. So we'll touch on that as we go along. But we definitely.
I mean, it aids a lot on travel and stuff like that. Sure. To be honest, there are some benefits to it.
You try to separate those teams by the regular season, which is how you determine who are the best in the region. And so to have it basically potentially decide, obviously, baseball and softball are double elimination tournaments, but like especially if like soccer, to have this situation where you can have a one game decide who moves on, who goes home, and after you play like a longer region slate. That's understanding the nature of playoffs, but I feel like it makes sense to have more games between teams in different regions to at least start it off. And then
kind of feels like double jeopardy for the favorites.
They're very unbalanced. So like we talk all the time about like playing this gauntlet of a region, and you get their first game is against another region team. Like you're just itching to play someone else at this point.
Right.
I certainly feel that.
Yeah. And we'll I'm sure tiptoe more into that as we look at the brackets. But first, let's shout out the presenting sponsor, Mickelson Law Firm, the all-star sponsor of Loco Sports, our OG sponsor, been with us since the beginning back in 2017. Big supporters of Loco Sports and all things sports in the Loco, quite frankly. You see their banners all over the place. They're the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage and our official real estate closing attorney. And some big news from a Hilton Head Christian Academy alum today, not Max Araj, but a more famous Hilton Head Christian Academy alum, Bryson Nimmer, a.k.a. Mr. Riley Miller nowadays.
Yes.
They're like the power couple of the Loco. That man has always had a knack for playing south of the border. He always plays well in Mexico, Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, all these kind of warm tropical places, and he has done it again down in the
Riviera
Maya in Mexico, the Tulum Championship at PGA Riviera Maya. He shot 71, 67, 73, 68, got him into a playoff at 9 under with Canadian Stuart McDonald. And on the second playoff hole, Bryson Nimmer made par, and McDonald made bogey, and Nimmer wins the Tulum Championship. And this is a huge deal for Bryson, who's kind of been, he ascended pretty quickly to essentially the AAA of golf, and kind of has not stalled out, but he's had to grind there for a little while and needed to break through. And this sets him up really well. And Max, you were already looking at where it puts him in, kind of the point standings and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, let me find the points list here. So with that win, he got 500 points with that win. So like that really moved him up the leaderboard. I mean, he was sitting outside of the top, I think 130 that get to compete at the Corn Ferry Tour finals. So with the win, he moved up 147 spots on the points list, sitting at 16th right now with 500 points even with that win. So I mean, he's moved up. He's got a shot at obviously being within a chance of getting into those top 8 spots if he can continue to play well. This year
it looks like the top 20 earn. Well, it says the top 20 earn their PGA Tour cards on the actual point standings on the.
Okay.
This changes. This has changed from time to time.
Yeah, a lot of changes.
Yeah, but
nevertheless, he's in a prime opportunity right now. If he can continue to play well, top 20, and I think there's another opportunity to earn.
Yeah, I think then. Where you place maybe if you win the tour championship or if you place in the top.
There's the other 10 I was referring to. There's actually a couple other is the DP World Tour and and you can also get through Q School top 5 and ties on PGA Tour cards. So I mean right now he is in position top 20 make it into the PGA Tour, earn their tour cards, and now it's a matter of just continuing to play solid golf. Now that since you have that win, you have eligibility this year and next to play in all Corn Ferry events with that victory. So that's a monumental win and one that's been a long time coming for him, because this is someone who I remember a couple of years back he really tore it up on some of the lower level tours during the COVID times, and he was able to get some events in. Stalled out a bit, but still competitive. Like he had some good finishes, especially south, Mexico. That area has been just a haven for him to play some great golf, and now you see him sealing the deal with that first Corn Ferry win, which obviously it's just so massive to get the victory and do it in the playoff. That's never easy, especially when your opponent made a birdie to force that playoff. It looked like you were in a good position in the clubhouse, but then you had to come back out, and you were able to get it done that second playoff hole with some steady golf. And man, I'm just so happy and proud for him, and it's a huge moment for the Low Country to have someone in a position like this, because it's such a golf spot destination that Hilton Head and the Low Country is. You'd love to see Bryson and others follow in his footsteps and continue to make their mark on potentially their way to the PGA Tour, and this is as closest as Nimmer has ever been to realizing that dream and gaining his card.
Yeah, and this was only his 4th event of the season. He missed January and February, and I don't recall now if he was coming off an injury or what that was, but he also got married at some point. So I don't know. I'm not sure exactly when. I can't remember exactly. My brain scrambled as far as when things happened in chronology.
She actually is from the local area, I believe.
It's Riley Miller. I already called him Mr. Riley Miller. She's.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you at first.
WJCL News. There you go. That's good stuff, man. So happy for Bryson, a guy that I've literally known since he was a child. I think I've shared this story before, but the first time that I interviewed Bryson was when I was working for the Island Packet, and I went out to the first time I was aware of him was covering a junior golf tournament, and I watched him and his dad on his bag, and they were out there grinding, and I think he won, and I might have even interviewed him then. But the time that I really remember was maybe a year later. The entire family was playing in the Bluffton Today Open over at Bluffton High School, a tennis tournament. And I was sent out to cover it for the Island Packet. and I was looking for kind of a vignette to build my coverage around. And I saw this wonderful family that was just having so much fun. Mom and dad, son and daughter, they're having a great time. They were doing really well. And there's Miss Patsy right there, and Mr. Tony in the background. That's so wonderful. I'm so happy for them. And so Patsy and Tony and Bryson and his sister Jordan, I want to say, we're all playing in the tournament, and I interviewed them and talked to them about, how cool it was to be able to have this event where they could all do it together. And I watched it. Bryson was a little butterball now. When he was a kid, he was an athlete, but he was a little butterball. And he's told me, he's talked to me many times about, Chris, I believe it was Chris Tremblay, who's now the coach at Hilton Prep and just led those guys to another state championship. Told him that you've got the engine of a Ferrari, but you gotta put it in the right vehicle, in the right package. And so he started really training his body and getting himself fit to be a professional athlete. And that's when he really turned the corner, went on to Clemson, had flirted with wins there for a long time. And then once he broke through, he really got on a roll, carried that over into the mini tours and stuff, had that great success on the short-lived tour that they had during COVID. And then was kind of trying to get it right, trying to put it all together for a little while here. But I think,
one of the best things.
I think there are many more wins to come, and then fatherhood is coming. And we talked last month during the Heritage about, how many guys we've seen really kind of figure it out after fatherhood. So I'm excited for the future.
Well, the other thing is, I think if I'm saying,
hold on, Wes had something he was about to say.
Just thinking one of the things about sports that you love is seeing those guys battle and grind for years, especially in baseball. When you look at the minor league system that has, and you sometimes find guys who find success, but it takes a long time to get through to the big leagues. And it feels similar for Bryson Nimmer. I mean, we've seen this before in the golf circuit as well. It is not easy to make that climb and get that tour card. And, most players will have some kind of adversity that they run into. And I just think about similar to what happened in college when Bryson found how to win and had some close calls before. And this is you're playing against the, second highest tier of golfers on the globe. You can argue in the Korn Ferry, it's like to step below the PGA Tour. And it's never easy any week. You're playing against some terrific players, and just to find that gear and shoot a 68 on Sunday when you were a couple strokes back and you just couldn't find it the day before. That's how you win tournaments. Find a way to lock in on Sunday, ride momentum, and just have the guts to get the job done in a tight tournament and into a playoff. That's the formula right there. And now let's see if Nimmer can build on it and seal his spot. But he is looking good right now, in my opinion.
Nice.
I've grown up around his family for many years now. I used to do theater productions with his sister McKay, and always enjoyed hanging out with the family. And so I've always been a huge fan of him and his career, and I'm so happy for him. That's a great thing to have. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if they've changed anything regarding the Korn Ferry Tour, but if he gets 2 more wins, does he not get a tour card?
Yes, 3-win promotion.
I think that's how it works. Yeah, automatic promotion.
Obviously, that's very difficult to do, but that is the case. But it's a great win for him. I'm very happy for him. And obviously, like you said, he's soon to be a father, and I think that's a great thing to have for him. And we've seen with Justin Thomas at the RBC Heritage just a couple weeks back, his first win as a father, and you can tell he's like really matured over the last few months or so as a golfer, and it's really shown. I hope that could be the case for Bryson.
Only 4 players since 2009 have earned the automatic 3-win promotion. It's not easy, but he's a third of the way there, so we'll see. But even so, if he just like continues to get like top 20s and top 10s and stay right around where he is, he'll be set. So now
I mean, you got 14 more events, so I feel like if you can get that second one,
yeah,
like the second one, I feel like is kind of the hardest one in a way. Like if you can get the second one soon enough, then you got a real shot,
right.
But you got to get that second one. I don't think you can even start thinking about 3 unless you get 2.
Yep.
Like you gotta just win the one in front of you. But I don't know what his schedule is coming up. You know, they do have a week off here before the Advent Health Championship in my neck of the woods, Kansas City, Missouri, at Blue Hills Country Club. So I suspect that he plans to be in the field there, you know, spend a week off at home, get anything tweaked in your game that you want to work on and go out there and try to ride the wave. And then swings back closer to home in Knoxville the following week, and then Raleigh the week after that. And then home game, basically, Thornblade Club in Greer for the BMW Charity Pro-Am. So, you know, I would think
that's interesting.
He's intending to try to keep the ball rolling with, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 weekends in a row before they get a week off going into Wichita. So, yeah, I think once you get that first one, you want to play as often as you can and try to get that second one to see if 3's a real possibility. So I expect to see him stay busy over the summer here, trying to grind it out. But we'll shift gears a little bit. One note from the weekend, since we aired on Friday, would be we did tell you Friday night about the postponement of the 4A Boys Lacrosse State Championship. So that'll be held Monday night at Bluffton High School, 6:30 p.m. May River against Oceanside Collegiate. And we were able to secure a couple of credentials, so we will have coverage, which is great news. And also, our buddy Javon Livingston from Beaufort's Own was able to secure the streaming rights through NFHS. So it will be streamed through the NFHS network, but it will be the Beaufort's Own broadcast with Javon on the call, and I don't know who else he's calling. Max, are you going to be calling? I can see if we can get a PLL All-Star on the call. Kieran McCardle would be an excellent. Somebody from the Low Country Rush organization would be great if they aren't on the coaching staff or on the sideline. But that would be fantastic to have somebody with that level.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an awesome night tomorrow. You know, Team Lowco will be there to cover it for you guys. And I hope we have a good turn. Obviously, it's a last-minute event, and sometimes, you know, playoffs are beginning in a bunch of other sports, so it's hard for so many people to make it because there's just a ton going on. But if you're in the lacrosse circles around here, I mean, this doesn't get much bigger. It doesn't get any bigger than high school level than this here in South Carolina. And yeah, you know, it's Oceanside's going to provide a strong challenge. They have a terrific program, but there's something to be said about having that home field advantage, and that's what May River has with this opportunity, playing right here in the Lowco, which, you know, certainly a nice break after this was originally scheduled for Irmo High School back on Friday. But, you know, what a great opportunity to not just be able to play in a state championship, but to play one just a few miles away from your school. That has to mean even more to these May River Sharks, and should provide them some more energy. So I think home field advantage is going to be a positive factor here for the Sharks.
Yeah, I think so for sure. I think they benefit more than Oceanside from this change. I don't know that it makes a difference. I think Oceanside,
not a huge one, but I think
I mean in the outcome. Yeah. You know, I think Oceanside's probably the better team, but it's very much a David versus Goliath situation.
And if River hangs around and they're able to, you know, if the goalie's able to get a couple of big saves and the defense gets a couple of stops, and
there's plenty of paths. You know, I mean, it's possible. There's some games where it's not possible. This is not one of those. I think they have the caliber of players who could execute a game plan that beats them, and the caliber of coaches who can design a game plan that, if executed well, keeps them in the game and gives them a chance. So, not saying that, but I do think they benefit from being at home. Essentially, I mean, 5 miles from home or whatever, it's a pretty good deal for them. Tomorrow is also the Region 6 4A tournament for golf at Rose Hill, which will be some good golf played there and set up for the lower state and state meets coming up. But we've got brackets, babies. We've got brackets. Let's start with 4A soccer. You want to start there? That's what I have right now is 4A boys soccer. Let's see here we go. There's your upper state. We won't worry about them until later if necessary.
This is boys. This is boys soccer.
Yeah, this is 4A boys soccer. So we've got May River hosting Midland Valley. That's Misa's boys taking on Midland Valley in the first round. Looking at a second round matchup likely with North Augusta.
And they would host again into the 4th seed. They would
They
win. They'd host again.
They would get 2 home games.
Right.
And then they would likely be headed to Gray Collegiate. So that would be a big old Donnybrook in the lower state semis. And then potentially Bishop England waiting on the other side. I wouldn't be surprised if Bishop England came out of that lower half of the bracket at all. So it's interestingly, we get a Hilton Head Bluffton matchup in round 1. Which this is
those
where
2 teams split, I believe. So that should be a fun matchup to take in on Wednesday. I might be there to watch it. Hilton Head dominated the first meeting at home, but I like how Bluffton responded back over there in the Den. So slight edge to Hilton Head, but I think this one should be anyone's match to claim and head to that second round on Saturday. But those local and local games, those rivalries, they certainly heighten it a bit. Even though it's nice to see other teams for these guys, but as someone who's covering it from afar, I like these rivalries. I like these local and local matches. They add some more spice to it.
Yeah, and certainly I like the idea that we're not getting knocked out in the first round. At least somebody's getting through to carry the flag. So I do kind of like that.
Yes.
But in soccer, I don't hate it in soccer, honestly. And as we go through the classifications, you'll see that it is kind of a theme happening here. So Hilton Head will get the home game in that one against Bluffton. We'll stick with 4A. Let's stick with 4A for now. Go through all of these. So if you're waiting for the other classifications, you can just tune out for a little bit, and we'll get back to you. But Bishop England and Beaufort in another region rematch that should be pretty lopsided in girls soccer here. May River at home against Brooklyn Casey. And then if it's Hartsville, they would go on the road. If it's Crestwood, they would get at home. But they have Bishop England standing in their way once again. And then in the bottom half of the bracket, we've got Bluffton going to Gray Collegiate and Hilton Head at home against Aiken with Gray in the second round.
I think more so in soccer than other sports, there is a path for the underdog to find success, especially if you're able to play good defense, limit the amount of opportunities at the net, and potentially live for penalties. You have an opportunity to steal it. So it's not out of the question that May River could find a way to make that deep run. But we've said before, and we've seen it before in this region where teams have kind of come out of, not saying come out of nowhere, but maybe have come out from as like a 2 or a 3 seed and have gone all the way to the lower state championship. So it's not a gimme for Bishop England if they face the Sharks. I think May River.
No, and May River, the last time they met, it was 3-1 at Bishop England, and May River has won 6 straight since then, and had won 3 in a row before that. So 9 out of their last 10.
Yeah, I would not.
They're certainly playing well at the right time, and they're a team that went on the road and knocked off not Bishop England, but Myrtle Beach, somebody last year.
Yeah,
of high profile.
Yeah, that's a program that has found some important success when they have needed it, and some of those players have been parts of that team before, so they know the experience of winning like that in the playoffs this time of year. So do not sleep on the Sharks. Seahawks have a tough one at Gray Collegiate if they're able to get past Aiken. I don't expect too much from Bluffton in that Gray Collegiate match, but we'll see. I think Gray should win that one. And Hilton Head, Nice to see them get the win against Aiken and give them an opportunity against most likely Gray Collegiate, but never going to be an easy one if they have to go up there for round 2. But I think May River has an outside shot. Yeah, and like I
Interestingly,
said, you never can predict. Yeah,
looking at the Max Preps rankings, not the RPI ratings, but the actual Max Preps, algorithm rankings. They have Bishop England number 1, AC4 number 2, Gray Collegiate number 3, Hilton Head number 4, May River number 5 in Class 4A. So, I think the margins may be
are thin,
narrower than we might anticipate in some of these games. And like you said, there's always a game plan for the underdog in soccer where they can pack it in and just deny clean looks, deny, try to pop a counter, and if nothing pans out, live for penalties, like you said. And so we will see. We will see.
I mean, that
fun to watch.
That Hilton Head team is pretty strong despite where they finished. I mean, it's a tough region this year, but I do have high hopes with Hilton Head. I could see them pulling off an upset.
Like I said, this region.
You're talking about boys or girls?
Girls.
Yeah.
Well, boys potentially, but more so this girls team.
I agree.
By the way they have played throughout this region campaign, how close they played a few of these teams. Not out of the question that they're able to go into if they obviously have to beat Aiken first at home, but they have that opportunity if they're able to execute that game plan and hang around and get the opportunity and seize it at a moment in that second round against a good Gray Collegiate squad. So yeah, it should be an interesting. Soccer is always fun because we see a lot of.
I paid dearly for that.
Oh, yeah, soccer's exciting. We've seen some big, crazy finishes. I look back to that May River, Joel Fleek. We've talked about that a lot, but there have been some others as well throughout the years. And Hilton Head, both programs have had some great history. They both have won state championships. The girls have won a bunch. The boys won one over a decade ago, but it was a memorable one. So we'll see if any of them are able to conjure up some magic on the pitch, and I'm definitely high on this May River girls team, and this May River boys team I think has a real opportunity.
I think they have a great opportunity.
Impressed. That was a gutsy win they ever bluffed, and that was not an easy match to win. But they have some guys who can find a way to deliver some big goals, and they play some good defense most of the time in front of their keeper. They just play a good style of soccer, and Misa's got
well coached team. Yep, should be fun. We'll get into the other classifications of soccer brackets here momentarily, but checking out the 4A baseball bracket, we've got all right. So it looks funky now, but it's still at essence still the old district bracket. It's just not divided by region necessarily anymore, as you will see. May River gets a pretty tough bracket here, I think, with Brooklyn Casey, Airport, and Gray Collegiate. That's going to be a battle to get out of there. Whoever gets it done is going to be have earned it. And then Bishop England is in with South Florence, which is never an easy task either. And then here's the wild one: Beaufort and Bluffton in the first round, and then there's Hartsville and Darlington. And Hartsville's tough, but I don't think it's.
Tell you what, I think this really shapes up well.
Either Beaufort or Bluffton.
I think this really shapes up well for Beaufort. By the way they've been playing, they're trending right in the right direction. Bluffton's strong. I know obviously they played Bishop England. Encouraged by that, they played that game at home, but they just the pitching just kind of fell off for them. I like the way Beaufort's trending into this district tournament. I feel like they have the opportunity to get past Hartsville and put themselves in a great spot. I think Beaufort's right there. I think Hartsville might be the favorite, but I think Beaufort is right on their tail right now. They're playing the best baseball at this point, which is what matters. You want to be playing your best heading into this time of year, and the Eagles have something cooking right now. So keep an eye on Beaufort I feel like they could be the team to make that deep run. I know May River has been great as well, but I've seen this path before for the Eagles where they kind of come out of nowhere and stun some people, and I think.
But Bluffton kind of was that team last year.
I was about to say,
right?
I feel like Libby said Selection Sunday vibes. I feel like this is one of those pods in your bracket where you're like, well, I'm picking against the 2 seed, but I can't decide who I'm picking to beat them because I don't know who's going to win this game. I ain't hating on Hartsville. Hartsville might roll whoever they play. They play good ball up there. But you want to think that whichever one of the Lowco teams comes out of that rivalry rematch in the playoffs is going to be fired up to maybe knock them off and make a run.
Let's
and
be
I don't
honest,
know which one. I think Bluffton is just as capable of getting hot. They swing the bats.
Yeah, they do.
Like, I really like Buford, but I also think that this game between the two is going to be an absolute dogfight. 100% between those two, it's going to be a dogfight, and I'm intrigued to see how it goes.
And in a perfect world, one of them ends up knocking out Hartsville on the backside, and they play again in a winner take all situation. Awesome. So we've had that before with May River and Buford.
By the way, another note on this bracket, they don't do. So what happened before is they played Game 6 and Game 7 the same day. They don't do that anymore.
Right.
A game if it goes to a Game 7, the better seed would host
2 days later.
Right. So say that the 4 seed goes all the way to that championship, they lose, the 1 seed comes back the other way, and that Game 7 would be at the side of the 1 seed. That's basically how that works.
Right. And it'd be 2 days later, which really changes the metric on the pitching because that brings guys back into the fold. I think it's better. I think sometimes those, if necessary, games on the same day really strain pitching staffs and put coaches in tough positions where they have to maybe pitch kids that
they're trying to save travel, but I think
probably shouldn't.
I also want to say if May River somehow
travel too, though. I mean,
I think this is the right way to do it. Also, I like the way I like the setup of the best of 3 after the district tournaments.
I do too. I like that.
I think it's great. Yeah, I 100% agree. I would say with May River, if they get out of that district, they would end up having to play more than likely Gilbert, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I think they beat Gilbert. I think them and Buford both beat Gilbert in that preseason tournament. Gilbert's good, but they're not unbeatable.
How did Gilbert get a 1 seed?
I don't know, man. They had the highest RPI, of the region champs. That's interesting. That's how that works.
That could be interesting then.
But the RPI lies at times. It overvalues winning percentage over strength schedule. So, it is what it is. Now we get to play the games. We don't have to worry about it anymore.
It's going to be fun.
That's the beauty of it. We have brackets now, and the brackets are everything. Looking at 4A softball, Bluffton will go on the road to Gray Collegiate. We're hearing a lot of Gray Collegiate here, aren't we? Buford will be on the road at Darlington. That's a tough trip and tough opponent. But hey, Scott Rath's team has been playing really good ball down the stretch. So
I wouldn't be shocked if they beat Darlington whatsoever. By how they've been playing as of late, I wouldn't put it past them.
8-9
Great Collegiate could be interesting though.
Yeah, I don't know enough to know, but I'm guessing Gray Collegiate's pretty stacked. They are in most things. Here's the weird and wackiness. We got 3 of our 4 teams in the playoff bracket, all in one district here.
Lowco.
Yeah, except Airport. Which one of these is not like the other?
Team,
So Airport's going to be making a lot of treks down to the Lowco. They'll be going to Colleton to start. I guess they could get a home game against Hilton Head in the second round. That's the most likely scenario. But it looks like we'll get another Carleton County potential
collision course here.
Yeah, once again.
Yep.
So that's
Hilton Head got in. I didn't know that Hilton Head got in.
I'm not. I'd love to see Hilton Head pull off an upset or two, but.
And Bishop England was terrible. So.
Yeah. I
Still
think
one of the
Mayriver also
mysteries
going to be on a collision course here. We'll see. I think those two are looking like.
Yeah, I think Mayriver should be in good shape. But we've hinted here a little bit about just the nature of the beast with this, where we now have region matchups happening in the first round, and for our purposes, like it's cool to have our teams play each other. We know we get home games. It's fun. We know we're getting a winner. All those things. But I'm always curious how the people involved feel about it. And I was able to talk to a couple of people, both Skylar Ward, who's the pitcher for Hilton Head High softball, and Lisa Hess, the head coach for May River. And they both were like, I was actually like sitting with Skylar when she like got the news and was like, "Oh my God, we're playing May River," and she and her friend were like, "Ugh." Like, they were like crestfallen. And then Coach Hess even was like, "Did you hear that we're in the same bracket with Hilton Head? We play Hilton Head first and we're in the same bracket with Colleton." And she was just like, like we've been there and done that, like. So I think there's going to be some pushback on that part of it, and I think there's going to be some efforts made to try to avoid that when possible, because it does seem to be kind of the one glaring flaw of this system.
Like anyone, I mean, like anyone would say, there's always going to be room for improvement, especially when it's the first season of doing this kind of thing with districts and stuff like that. So there's always room for improvement, and having a bracket like that with 3 of our local Lowco like region teams in one district with the one team that doesn't seem to fit in with airport, but it is what it is. And it can happen at times, but I'm sure there's always going to be ways to improve that. So
you got this other one where it's North Augusta, Midland Valley, and South Aiken, which are all pretty close by, and then South Florence, which is far flung. So I mean, it used to be 4 that were nowhere near each other at all, so it's not like a huge deal, but it is a little different. It's a little different. But I don't know. Road trips are fun, like Libby said. Road trips are fun, but it's more fun to go to a place that you haven't been. Not a place you've already had a road trip to and you lost. That sucks.
No, that's not the memory you want.
You want to go to a place and play some mystery team that you think you might be able to beat, whether you have a real shot or not. But here comes the 3A boys soccer bracket. Battery Creek, decent squad this year, but came out with the 4 seed from the region. So they're the 11 down there. They travel to Georgetown in round 1, and then they would have a Swansea or Aner in round 2. And I don't know enough to know that much about it, and I don't think any of us do. But I'm going to pull up the 3A Max Preps rankings and give us a little bit of context. So they're playing whom again? Battery Creek's were ranked 18th in Max Preps, and Georgetown is ranked significantly lower than that, 27th at 2-15. So we like Battery Creek's chances. Yeah, this is girls soccer. Shoot, my bad, boy.
I was about to say, I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Georgetown's in a region with what is it, Waccamaw, who's I'm pretty sure they are a 1 seed.
Well, I mean somebody has to be the 1 seed out of there.
Yeah, well, I know that, but I'm
Creek's 14th, Georgetown's 15th in boys. So it's a dead heat.
That's interesting.
That should be a real good matchup.
I like the odds.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's a long road trip up there. It do be stanking up there. It smells up there. So you'll have to adjust to that. I'm talking about the paper mill up there in Georgetown.
Yes, yeah.
It's right. I'm gonna say it'll probably be Swansea in the second round if they get through. They're ranked 9th, but 11 and 8, so not unbeatable. So I think Creek has a fighter's chance to.
Well, I was gonna say if you want to get the smells of Georgetown, just go to Port Wentworth or something like that.
Facts.
You can smell it from there.
Shorter
trip For those of you who like that smell for whatever reason.
Sticking with 3A. Facts. Sticking with 3A. There's sometimes you go through Alligator Alley and you're like, whoa, boy.
God. Oh, yeah.
Whoa, boy. But here we go with the
Waccamaw got a bye.
Waccamaw got a bye. Somebody opted out. Battery Creek doesn't appear to have an opponent in this particular bracket. I'm not sure who they're going to be playing.
Maybe it hasn't been figured out.
Interesting. I looked apparently possibly Silver Bluff, but I'm not going to.
Newberry is who it says on their schedule.
Okay, Newberry. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So it looks like they'll play Newberry.
All right, Newberry is.
With a chance to play Waccamaw in the second round, which is
that's going to be tough.
Not a promising prospect, but against Newberry,
always been super good at that.
Let's see.
Those two soccer programs.
Creek ranked 18th, Newberry 15th, so it's a winnable game.
It is a winnable game.
I agree.
All right,
but it is at Battery Creek, so that gives them a little bit of an advantage there.
I don't know. I don't know what's happening in 3A baseball. I know Battery Creek had a rough year.
Bridges Prep's got to be in there, right?
I know it. Well, not in 3A. They'll be in
2A. No, sorry, 2A. Yeah.
So Battery Creek will go to Yoris in the first round.
Actually, wait, sorry, not for
baseball.
Baseball, yeah.
Yeah, we're looking at baseball here, and they'll go to
Loris.
That's going to be
first round.
Yep.
Fox Creek's always had a good baseball program too, so being in that bracket is going to be important.
And Battery Creek, one of their key players is an 8th grader. He's on our.
Oh my goodness!
Team.
Yeah.
Wow. On our Waves team, he hit 2 massive home runs last weekend at Jenkins High School. He's something else. Cooper Evans, keep an eye on him, but they're asking him to do a lot right now. So I don't know that you'd expect much of him in these playoffs. But their softball team now, there's a little bit of expectation there. They play a very competitive schedule throughout the year. They're non-region. Very qualified and experienced coach in Bob Lehman, who's won a lot of games and a lot of championships at Thomas Hayward. And this program's got a little bit of history, and they will open with Swansea in the first round with a trip to Ainer potentially in the second round. So Battery Creek softball, we'll keep an eye on them.
Battery Creek Battery Creek's never been a terrible softball program, or at least
state champions several years back.
Yeah, won a state title back in. What year was that?
It was right before COVID.
Was it right before or right after COVID? Yeah,
right before, year before COVID. I think 19. Yeah.
Very good team. Mackenzie Young, one of the key players on that team. Now the coach at Bridges Prep, and we'll get into the 2A brackets here momentarily. But they've got Battery Creek, Swansea at home against Swansea. So that's good. That's good. That gives them a good chance. Now we're moving on to 2A, and we've got 2A boys soccer. You've got yet another Loco and Loco matchup coming. But Bridges Prep will get a home game against Batesburg-Leesville, and we shared with you the other night that they'll be playing their home playoff games this week on campus, new fields on campus that they've been scrambling to get them ready. And actually took a call from Jeremiah Young today, the principal over there, and he said, some of those photos, we had to do some magic to make sure we didn't show the parts that weren't done yet, but they've been working hard to get it ready, and they're very excited for a big week.
I've been talking with Brock Vaughn about Bridges Prep because he's one of the coaches for them, and he says they should get through it until they hit Academic Magnet, because he thinks Academic Magnet is the best team.
They would not see him until
they wouldn't see him until the lower state final.
Right, that's my point.
Philip Simmons could be a challenge on
because he thinks Bridges can beat out Philip Simmons. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think the big question is how tested Bridges really has been. They're 9-2. Their region didn't really challenge them. They outscored people 68-13.
Right.
They did play. They played Battery Creek and Hilton Lake Christian early on. They played BA, but then they really haven't played anyone of note in the last month and a half. So I think that would be the concern with them. They're ranked ninth in the Max Preps rankings.
Yeah. I mean, if you look
Philip
at this
Simmons
bracket,
is ranked second. So, I think that Philip Simmons game is going to be a real challenge. But I
think
don't
that
see
would be the first real challenge for Bridges Prep.
Yeah, I don't think they'll meet a lot of
Lake City's
from
okay,
Lake
but they're not as good as Bridges Prep. I think it'll be if they get past Philip Simmons. From what I've been told, Academic Magnet is a buzzsaw.
Oh yeah, Academic Magnet's number 1, Philip Simmons number 2. Like if you win that, then you're probably facing Andrew Jackson, but maybe Greenville Tech in the finals. But no, the first 2 should be tune-ups, and then you're gonna have 2 absolute dogfights to try to get to the state championship game.
How about Hampton County against Whale Branch there?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
It's a bummer, but it's a local matchup.
Yeah, I know, but they already played twice. It's just kind of a bummer.
It doesn't matter. I hate saying this, but more than likely they'll lose against Philip Simmons. Anyway, whoever gets.
Yeah, I mean, more than likely. But both these games were, Hampton won 1-0 and 4-1 against Whale Branch. So,
hey, you never know.
Whale Branch, Hampton seems to be the team going in the right direction. But I don't know.
I'd say Hampton wins that one, but you never know. Whale Branch can sneak up on them.
Possibly. Yeah, I don't think Hampton's ready to compete with the Philip Simmons of the world, though. Going to 2A girls soccer. Oh, there it is.
There we go.
The 1A girls soccer bracket is not up. So put that. So here we go. Columbia comes to Bridges Prep in the 5-12 game. Winner would have to go to Atlantic Collegiate, which is home up in Myrtle Beach. And then Hampton home against Woodland. Oh, there's no 1A soccer bracket. It's a 1A, 2A combined. We didn't have enough schools.
I was confused. I couldn't find a
that sucks, man. Our girls were going to make a run in 1A. They might have won it all. And now they're the 11 seed in the 2A bracket.
I got to take on
Governor School.
Yeah, with Philip Simmons waiting in the wings. Oh, that's what Rayleigh meant when he said
horrible.
Screwed.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
There aren't enough 1A teams that declared for the playoffs, so we don't get a championship.
Yeah, I find that extremely stupid. I don't like that whatsoever. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But it just hurts for those 1A teams, just uphill battle.
Because if it was a 1A bracket, just hypothetically, Hardyville would be what, a 2 or 3 seed?
I have no idea. I mean, how many 1A schools are even in here?
I don't know. Bethune's a 2A,
right? No, Bethune's Y.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah. Man, that's a bummer. So there's your 2A bracket, and good luck. Good luck, 1A schools.
Yeah.
You never know with Hardyville. You never know.
Yeah.
No, you don't. I mean, and I don't know what the Governor School's got. We got a little squad. I mean, we got some players. We don't have a lot of depth, and that's why we have a shot against 1A teams because they also have to be iron women and play everybody the whole game.
Phillips. I think it's Unfortunately, they're in that area with Philip Simmons, which is never fun.
Yeah, that's really tough. So
man,
it is what it is, man. That's why we need to support athletic programs in 1A schools and get more kids playing because
amen
to that. More of us so we can compete on a level playing field. We need it for wrestling so bad.
Here we go.
Look at this wild, crazy.
It's crazy.
What is happening?
Bridges is somewhere in here.
Why don't they all look the same? I don't understand. Where my brain hurts already. It doesn't say. It doesn't have our people in here yet. Region 5 is what we're looking at.
That would be them right there. Or no, they have a home game, don't they?
Yeah, I think they're the 2. I think Hampton's the 1 in this region. Let's see. Yeah, region 2, 5. Oh, Barnwell's the 1. Bridges and Edison tied for the 2. Yeah, Barnwell's the 1 seed in this 2A baseball bracket.
Wait. Oh, okay. All right.
So Barnwell will be here against North Central in the upper left, the region 5 number 1.
Got it.
Bridges got the 2 seed, so let's take Academic Magnet. Edisto's the 3, so they got Lake City, and then Hampton's the 4. They go to Sherrall.
Ooh. Okay. Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I was looking at today, and I was completely trying to.
Yeah, no, I don't know why our region is the one region that's not not in the bracket yet.
And then 2A softball. See if it's filled in. Well, I mean, presumably they hadn't reported it yet because it was up in the air or something, and now somebody hasn't updated the thing.
I saw them.
I'm having it. So Bridges at Buford in 2A softball, not to be confused with Beaufort. And then Hampton will host Timberland. Rob Hanna told me before the season this was the best softball team they'd had in Hampton County in like 10 years, and they put it on us. We were looking forward to a rematch and got rained out and never got to get it in. But they're pretty tough, so I hope they can make a run. And looks like that's the only ones. Yeah. So best wishes to those 2 teams. And now for the 1A brackets.
Yes.
This is craziness, y'all. So speaking of Loco on Loco, all right, so you got buys galore, right?
Yep.
So Baptist, and somehow Baptist still didn't get a bye, but advanced on forfeit. So I'm not sure what that means. Maybe Branchville took one for the team and declared for the playoffs and then paid the fine to withdraw or something. I don't know.
Hardyville,
St. John's takes the 1 seed, Hardyville the 2 seed, Palmetto Scholars the 3, Royal Live Oaks the 4. So that means that Hardyville and Royal Live Oaks, who have had 2 spirited games, cannot meet until the lower state finals. But Hardyville and Ridgeland could potentially meet in, the semifinals, lower state semifinals, if Ridgeland can get past Military Magnet and Palmetto Scholars. And they also had a couple spirited games. So, but it looks like gonna have to go through Palmetto Scholars, but they got to come to the Ville. Everybody got to come to the Ville.
Hardyville has a road.
At least the bottom
got a road.
And if Royal knocks off St. John's,
man, that would be a Donnie Book state final.
Then Royal would have to come across town too.
Oh man, that would be epic. Yep.
By the way, if Denmark for some reason gets past Charleston Math and Science, that's a very athletic Denmark O line.
I don't know how good Charleston Math and Science is, but you're right. Denmark is very athletic. They got a lot of guys who are double dipping with track, who are basketball and football players, and they frustrated the heck out of Royal in the regular season.
That's what I'm saying. So, I was saying, like, there is a chance if Denmark can get past Charleston Math and Science, however good Charleston Math and Science is, that could be a very interesting game between
it could be
Royal Live Oaks and Denmark.
Well, the other real factor in this division is if anybody gets red cards or fights, gets suspended, like it can really impact you in the playoffs. So guys have to be cool-headed because it's the officiating at the 1A level is not always the greatest. They don't always control the game well, and if somebody's allowed to get too loose and they lose their stuff, it can really derail your season.
Hardyville has a good-looking road.
They're pretty disciplined. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No doubt. It's a good road. Rayleigh's El Presidente is nervous about those potential.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Yeah. He's right about this. Region champion on a road and 11 seed is janky. Yeah.
That's frustrating. I hate that. I absolutely hate that.
Garbage. 1A baseball. Here you go, Maxie. Hardyville hosting Charleston Math and Science. Winner likely going to Low Country Leadership. Loser likely hosting Carver's Bay. So,
I think we
have you started the scout?
I've been paying attention to them. I've been looking at their schedule. They actually have played some teams that we have played this year. They played Whale Branch earlier this year, but I'm pretty sure they lost that game.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
So they have, as of right now, from what I've seen, they have one win on their record. I have not been able to find other records. So as of right now, they have one win on the record, and it was in region play. I'm pretty sure. I just don't know who it was against. Yeah, I'm. It's going to be interesting. I'm intrigued to see how we get out of this one. I think we have a really legitimate shot against Charleston Math and Science. If we get through there, it's Low Country Leadership. That's a decent road trip, as well as that's a solid looking Low Country Leadership team as well. From what I've been doing.
If you beat Charleston Math and Science, it'll be because our boy Millie threw a jam.
Yeah,
and that'll mean he doesn't get to.
Well, and here's the thing. Here's the thing, though, with this being that it's every other day, I have to limit him because if I need him in a game where it's important, I can't absolutely let him loose in a game. So it's something I'm gonna.
I don't know, man. I don't know. What are you gonna try to keep him to like 40?
I mean,
every game. I don't know if that's.
I mean, he's gonna be our main guy. He's gonna be our main guy because I'm gonna pitch him against Charleston Math and Science. Obviously,
you got to.
You got to win. Leadership is where
you have to bring your best guy out there.
I have to think about it because if we want to have a shot against Low Country Leadership, which I don't think we do, if we want to have a shot, I'd put Millie at pitcher, but I can't if I let him loose.
No, I think you got to win the first one no matter what. First of all, like that is everything. So I think you got to throw him out, and then you got to pitch him out in the first one. Unless you get up huge, or something.
Well, and that's the other thing.
Then you don't. In this situation, you can't. You got to burn him, and then you do whatever you got to do in the next game. But then he only needs. What's he need? 4 days, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. You look at what the 3 days rest situation is. What that limit is, so that you can bring him back on the 10th.
Well, the good news for me is I can have him throw the full 110 on Tuesday. So, I have that as the option. But
it's not you, though. It's not you. Here's my thing. You're not in charge. Let me just remind you.
Right. No, but I'm saying, we have the full 110 with him. But I would say if we get to a big enough lead, in my opinion, I think we take him out because I do have another pitcher behind him.
Yeah.
Another couple pitchers behind him that we can use, and they should be able to shut stuff down. So
we can't. I'm
not overly worried, but with this playoff format, you have to be extremely.
We just need to try to win one. Yeah, we need to try to win one first. Don't worry about the rest. That's what our plan is, and here's our bracket, our path. We get home game against Palmetto Scholars. To start things off, and then if we win, likely going to Branchville, which will be a massive challenge. If we lose, likely at home against Carver's Bay, which I know virtually nothing about Carver's Bay. So,
I honestly I don't know about the Carver's Bay baseball team either. So I got to do some homework tonight on Carver's Bay just in case we.
I got to do this. But I don't plan on playing them because I plan on winning the first one. I don't want to start scouting a team that you got to lose to play. So
no, that's not.
But I want to do a bit of that. That's what I do. It's just how I roll. I want to know about them. I do want to know about them. I want to start kind of pre-scouting them, but I don't want to waste too much time on them yet. I want to be able to scout everyone. Actually, who I need to talk to regarding Charleston Math and Science is Tristan, because obviously his team played against them. So I do need to reach out to Tristan if you're watching for whatever reason.
Source Team Lowco and Team.
Of course, it was, I believe, senior night when we were out there this past week for Whale Branch because it was their final home game of the year. So, very special day for Whale Branch.
I'm glad we had enough players to give them a seat.
Yeah. I think we're in good shape because
that was we had like 13 for that game.
Huh?
I heard we had like 13 players for that game.
Yeah, we had 13 players. Like, I think if we have all of them, I'm in good shape. I mean, this team is going to be in good shape, and if I can, work with Tete, who's got the second strongest arm on our team, and that dude can throw an absolute missile from center field. If I can get him to be able to pitch effectively, I think I might have 2 really solid pitchers for this tournament, which I think is going to be.
Say an I again. It's a we thing, man. It's a we thing.
Sorry, my bad.
I'm gonna keep calling you on that until you stop doing that.
No, that's fine. You keep doing that because I can't. I honestly, I just.
We. Especially when you're the assistant coach, you don't get to say I. Royal we, sir. But yeah, so that's our road. We'll be at home.
Do you have info on Branchville in terms of their season? Like, do you have any information?
Branchville softball?
Yeah.
Oh, they're usually pretty good.
Okay.
I don't know. No, I haven't gotten that far. But I know that they're usually pretty good. They're ranked ninth in the Max Preps rankings, whatever that means. I know that they played tough games against Colleton County, and Colleton County is much better than we are. So, I mean, I just know that.
Yeah.
But I know, I think that the Palmetto Scholars and Low Country Leadership and Charleston Math and Science in the middle of that pack, I don't think they're unbeatable. Here's our thing. If the pitcher's dominant, we're in trouble. If the pitcher's hittable, not anything less than dominant, we have a shot in a high scoring game.
Yeah, that's the one thing I've noticed about the softball team this year is if they have a shot against a pitcher, they take pretty good advantage of it.
I mean, we can hit, but we struggle with really good velo. It's just a nervousness and a unsteadiness that it's hard to catch up to it. But we're going to go back to basics on button and slapping this week too, and make sure that if we do see a fast pitcher, we have something in our toolbox to combat it and try to. We got a really hard, dry, fast infield right now. Let's try to get the ball on the ground and make them make plays, and just create chaos, which interestingly is what our friend Matt Bowman said about Hilton Head as the last seed in that 4A boys bracket. Their goal is to create chaos against number 1 seed Fountain Inn. They got in the upper state bracket.
Yeah, they're heading to Fountain Inn. So that's a long. Better make it count. That's a long bus ride. And then they'll probably stay around there because they'll play, win or lose, they'll play in that same area on Tuesday.
So, they've already got the hotel booked. Matt said, what did he say earlier? It was funny. Said, what's going on with this? Because we were looking at the bracket going, why does it say that?
Well, they played South Point in there as well. I was like, what?
Right, and he said
it was very confusing. But yeah, they're going to stay overnight. They're going to either play Lancaster or Greer, depending on what happens with both those games. So yeah, I mean, it's a long stay up in the upper state and find a way to survive and create chaos, as Coach said. And I tell you what, you can never fully sleep on this team. They've been competitive. I'd like to play against May River. They're right there in that game. Left the tying run on third. I mean, it's the margins are closer than you expect, especially when you start to find positive signs. And I think Hilton has a couple of guys that can make this interesting, but they're going to have to get quality pitching. That's a must. They need a good outing from their 2 starters in those games.
Yep. So we've taken you through all the brackets. We've caught you up on the latest local sports news. Let's tell you about some more sponsors who support what we do here at LowcoSports. Thanks so much to Hudson Seafood House on the Docks, presenting sponsor of Under the Bus, which we got a new episode out there for you earlier this week, and we'll have one coming, I believe Monday night is the plan. And I think I may be involved in it. I'm not positive. Can't remember exactly what the plan was for this week. I'll have to check in with the boys, but I know that it's always a great plan to go to Hudson Seafood House on the Docks and get you some seafood, cocktails, and catch a sunset over on Hilton Head Island around Skull Creek. Presenting sponsor of Under the Bus. check them out. Hudson Seafood House on the docks. We got Hilton Head Furniture. They bring great handcrafted furniture down from Hickory, North Carolina, down to the Low Country to sell to you to keep in your home for a long time. Quality stuff that lasts a lifetime from Hilton Head Furniture. And if you want to improve your beautiful view of the Low Country, you got to get with HHI Windows and Doors. Our old friend Coach Barron from Hilton Head Prep came down here, won a few state championships in what was supposed to be retirement. And now he's retired and unretired again. He's selling windows and doors, HHI Windows and Doors. They can improve your view of the Low Country. Our other Loco Booster Club sponsors, Base Hit Life, has baseball and softball themed apparel that will have you looking good at the ballpark. Live your best Base Hit Life at basehitlife.com. Dr. Ambrose Cole is our official chiropractor. You can find him at Rooted Living Wellness in Bluffton, and he'll get you feeling right, mind, body, and spirit. Reverence Wrestling Club, the official wrestling sponsor and presenting sponsor of the Loco Grind. Barefoot Floor Care of the Low Country, getting your floors so clean your feet will thank you. And Jay's Barbershop, the chosen barbershop of many Loco celebrities, including one time Tony O'Banner and others. The place to be in Ridgeland, whether you need a haircut or not. Jay's Barbershop. Parting thoughts, gents. Wes, I will cede the floor to you first.
I'm just hyped for this week. So much going on. We got big playoff games every night. It's one of the best times of year, and it's so much fun just trying to keep up with everything and look up all the scores on Game Changer or elsewhere on social media, and it's a thrill just to see which teams can pull off the upsets and which teams can advance the furthest into their respective brackets. I love it. It's a great time of year.
And not to mention that we also have SCHSL playoffs continuing.
We do indeed. Soccer. I'll tell you what. SCHSL soccer started a week earlier than normal. I remember they used to start late, but they started this week, which I believe is a week earlier than they used to. So it's even more busier than it was in the past.
It's craziness right now. But yeah, we got to get the bracket all the schedule all filled out, see what all is going on. Because yes, every night indeed, as El Presidente says, we'll be burning the lights in the Ville just about every night this week. So it's gonna be fun. Yeah. Tuesday nights for baseball.
John Rothstein said we sleep in May. We don't. We're not sleeping anytime soon. It's wall to wall action.
Yeah, exactly. We sleep in June, babies. It should be a good week. Max Araj, any thoughts?
Obviously, I'm very excited for playoffs this week to start for the Hardyville baseball team as well as the softball team, as I've been obviously helping out with both this year. So I'm very excited. I think myself and Naaman Collins, we're both very excited. With our first season making the playoffs for the first time in I think 15 years, it's a very special week for Hardyville High School. Yes. Not just in baseball and softball, but also soccer as well. So very excited for that. My other thing was
Nick Williamson has a reminder for you about Wednesday night.
Yes, I have talked with Jay Scarborough. If I can get work off that day, I will be able to make it. Otherwise, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get there. I would really love to be there because I do want to talk with Jay Scarborough and just to get his thought process on how it's been going so far in the playoffs. But we'll see if I can make it there on Wednesday night. I'll definitely do my best to get there. My other parting thought is outside the local area, but it is golf related. I don't know if you guys saw the CJ Cup was taking place in Texas this week.
Yeah,
and Scotty Scheffler tied, I believe, a PGA Tour record for I think overall score. I think it was. He finished with round 1 of 61, round 2 63, round 3 66, and a round 4 of 63 to finish 31 under par for the tournament. Woo! And by the way, second place was Eric Van Rooyen from South Africa at 23 under par.
Man, that's an 8-stroke win. That is
shot difference. That's insane. That is absolutely.
My man shot 23 under and lost by 8.
That's my point. That's exactly my point.
Rough.
Yeah, at least he's earning over $1 million, so you can't complain too much.
That's
still
rough.
Get $1 million paycheck.
That's unreal.
It's like, man, I don't know what I could do.
31 under par. Scotty Scheffler.
Talk about everybody's playing for second.
You tip your cap at
that's a different animal, man. 31 under par.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
31 under. That is
insane.
Remarkable.
That's unbelievable. So
someone must have got him, man.
For yet another couple $1 million in the bag this week, as well as getting that cowboy hat as well today. So,
did he get a cowboy hat?
I believe he did. Let me. There was a picture.
It's it is Teacher Appreciation Week this week.
Yes, it is.
So be sure to thank your teachers.
Yep. We thank the teachers.
Indeed.
I got two.
We have a teacher on the show with us every night.
We do. So, I got to attend the prom. I got to attend the prom last night. First one since 1996 in Columbus, Kansas. So we're a long time and a long way from there. It's a little different experience.
That video of my boy Christian dancing, man.
Yeah, that was great, right? That's what the prom's all about, man. Guys like Christian,
it's so funny,
breaking it down for just a few seconds.
You sent me that video of my boy Christian dancing. I died of laughter. It was hilarious.
I have one more parting thoughts.
Almost fun.
Yeah, go ahead, Wes.
One more parting thought. Just wrapping up what is a terrific season for USCB softball. Tough way to see it end. 1-0 defeat, but man, they were right there. Yeah. Left a couple of runners in scoring position at key moments.
Yeah,
just hurts because they executed their game plan perfectly in the sense that they were able to get runners on. They got some base hits to put runners on base early in innings. They just couldn't get the big hit to send in the runs they needed.
Right.
But Sierra Kinlaw was fantastic in her final game. Just brilliant right there in the circle. But just didn't bring in the runs when they needed to. So tough to see them that way. But outstanding season.
Man, really promising finish.
Yeah.
We had a chance. I think it was in the top 6 or top 7, one of those two, where we had a chance with a runner on third.
Really promising way to close out the season, though. I mean, you go into your first year of postseason eligibility, and your last 4 games, you went 2-2 with the top 10 team in the country. They may go on and win the national championship for all we know. I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out.
Actually, I do have one more.
No, it's a good way to finish out for them, and I think they're on the right track going into next year.
Yeah, I do have one more parting thought, kind of a sad one, but I wanted to send my condolences to the family of Tom Riley. If you guys don't know who Tom Riley is, he is
legend.
Absolute legend, founder of multiple restaurants on the Hilton Head Island, like Crazy Crab, of course, Benny's Coastal Kitchen, the Old Oyster Factory. He passed away on Friday. He also founded the St. Patrick's Day Parade that takes place at Hilton Head, which just celebrated its 40th anniversary this year. He's been, I believe he was in intensive care since February, if I'm pretty sure. I just wanted to send my condolences to the Riley family because that is a massive loss for a man who did so many great things for the town of Hilton Head.
Yeah, he's a legend over here and contributed so much to this island, to this community. So he will be missed for sure. Saying my condolences. Talk about salt, some more salt in the wound. Even though the Sandshirks had a great season, the 7 seed won the tournament. Georgia Southwestern knocked off North Georgia in the final 7-4. So talk about this tournament. That's
wow.
Yep.
That's craziness.
That's insane.
Craziness. Well, speaking of softball, it was a tremendous day for softball in Bluffton in particular, but in the Low Country on Saturday with the first Top Gun travel softball tournament that, to my knowledge, first travel softball tournament we've had in Beaufort County in a long, long time, if ever. We had a bunch of teams out there. Oscar Fraser was packed. It was kind of staggering how many more people it was at one time than you get for an all-star tournament. Because, with the district tournament, you only play one game a day most of the time. so people come and go in waves.
Yep.
And there was none of that. Everybody brought their tents and set up camp all day long. So it was packed. But logistically, it seemed to work. The parking was a challenge, but it often is in these places.
Yeah,
and life found a way. People started finding ways to drive back in the trees and create new pockets of parking, and it worked out. It worked out great. I wasn't there to the bitter end, but it was a ton of people there. It was a ton of girls playing ball. It was really fun. It was good competition, and
it's a great venue.
It's really good to see.
It's a fantastic venue to have a tournament. I've been to Oscar Frazier multiple times. Played at Oscar Frazier back in my days of playing rec baseball, and I've always enjoyed playing there. Even though every time I seem to have gone there, I got either hit in the helmet or hit in the ribs with a baseball while taking a bat. I have no idea why, but I always had some bad luck whenever I played at Oscar Frazier, because for some reason I always seem to end up getting hit with a baseball and wherever on my body. But it's a great venue, and I do enjoy going out there every once in a while to just watch some baseball. And the crazy thing is, after this month is over, starting next month, we have all the rec baseball state tournaments taking place for the all-star teams and stuff like that. Indeed. And both I believe both Bluffton and Beaufort are hosting some of those state tournaments for both baseball and softball.
Oh yeah.
So
I don't know which ones, but yes.
When May is done, you think I would sit and relax, but no, that's not happening. So, and I don't think
you get to watch the kids play. That's always fun.
Oh, it's
a blast. It's a blast, and one of my very first experiences here as a sports reporter was going to report on the all-star tournaments, because I got here in the summer, right? I got here in June, July. So the first thing I covered was the Players Amateur and Legion baseball game, and then the next thing I know, I'm talking to and then the next thing I know, I'm talking to some old boy from Union about his lineup for the game. And trying to decipher all the different accents of South Carolina. My first experience learning where places like Sherrill were, and Sumter and Sumter. And that old Dennis Brunson from Sumter, he was coaching the team, and he was also the sports editor at the Sumter Item. And so, I don't know, that was like a nexus for me, Bluffton, Oscar Frazier Park. And I remember the first ever Dixie's World Series that we hosted there. And Anthony Alford was the star for Petal, Mississippi. He then went on to play for the Pittsburgh Pirates and Toronto Blue Jays. My name and my son's name are on a board outside Oscar Frazier Park. That feels pretty cool. We're part of the state championship team, so we get to see our name every time we walk through there. Richard Jennings and his son, I think, have that same experience.
I think a lot of us have
definitely a lot of great memories there, and it's really cool to see a new generation of kids and girls. That's been missing here. Softball has the culture of softball has really been missing here, and it is growing, and it's beautiful to see. So, on that note, boys, let's call it a Sunday night, call it a week. We'll be back Monday night to do it again. And start rounding up all of these playoff results from around the Loco for you. So thanks to all of our sponsors. What's that, Wes?
And recap a state championship game tomorrow.
Exactly.
Hopefully a shocker. We'll see.
Exactly. So thanks to all of our sponsors who make it all possible, especially the OGs, Mickelson Law Firm. Thanks to all of our we'll talk about this later, buddy.
Yes.
High school football. We'll talk about that much later. We got all summer to talk about
that.
We'll focus on spring sports for the moment. But thanks to everybody who showed up to listen and watch, all you folks in the comments letting us know you're watching. We appreciate you. It's nice to know we're not just talking to ourselves. But we'll be back tomorrow night, whether you're here or not, to talk amongst ourselves and tell you what's going on with sports in the Loco. So thanks so much. For Max Araj, Wes Kerr, I'm Justin Jarrett. Until next time, go Loco.
The Loco Sports Lowdown podcast is a production of Loco Media LLC and LowcoSports.com, an independent media outlet providing grassroots local sports coverage in the South Carolina Lowcountry. We are sustained by community support from sponsors and patrons like you. Get in the game with a monthly pledge of $1 or more at patreon.com/LowcoSports to keep us going and growing. Go Lowco.